Hello, this is Corey Gerard, and this is part 2 and the conclusion of the battle between Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers here at Monster Wars. So, Michael Myers is now seen falling back as Jason stands tall above him with an apparent victory. Michael then looks at Jason's face, and then through Michael's eyes, the scene is shown getting very dark, as Jason is shown dimming into the dark as well. Then suddenly we follow Michael Myers, who's now seen filling the hollowing null of death, in which splits the very consciousness from the body. Now Michael is shown being surrounded by his early memories as a child. And then there is one in particular that pulls Michael Myers into it, which is in fact where Michael began his murderous start. Now a little Michael Myers is seen in his Halloween costume on the 31st of that night. His sister is also shown as well, as she oversees Michael's trick or treating. Now Michael is seen ringing a doorbell as he says trick or treat. Then suddenly an older Michael Myers appears behind the sister, and this spiritual nightmare is shown watching these events en masse. Now Michael's sister is heard saying, "Come on, Michael, there's no one home." Then the younger Michael is shown looking back at his sister as someone finally opens the door in front of the younger Michael Myers. Then suddenly a hand is shown grabbing the younger Michael by his right wrist. And that hand has a strange looking tattoo symbol on it, which is then seen on his near thumb side. The younger Michael then appears to be frozen as he looks on with his clown mask, because the treat giver is then shown wearing a pumpkin mask. Then the older spiritual Michael is seen walking through the sister, and then he merges with his younger Michael self. And the Michael merger is shown happening as the pumpkin-head stranger is heard saying, "Watsep, Latrami, Yales, Roy, Yalemeth, Nick," which certainly means bestow a mortal, slay your family kin. Now it appears that Michael Myers is being endowed with mystical energy, because a light surge is then seen entering him. His sister then replies, "Michael, if you want more candy, we have to go," as seen saying so. Then all of a sudden, the scene quickly returns to Jason Voorhees during a rewind sequence when Michael is now seen falling before Jason because of the hockey mask slayer's lethal strikes on his neck. So Jason is now seen up close, and then his memories are shown taking him back to his childhood past. Now we arrive at Camp Crystal Lake, where camp counselors are then shown. These 4 counselors are 2 males and 2 females who are shown leading a group of kids to the swimming section of the lake. Now the back of a bald-headed child appears behind this peer group. Then the 4 counselors appear to be more preoccupied with themselves rather than those children, because they are clearly shown flirting with each other as they playfully touch and smile. The scene then motions around to show the children's faces, which are of both boys and girls, and they do appear to be expressing pleasant enough looks. Then one of the female counselors is heard saying, "Come on, Jason, playtime is here." And then Jason's face appears, which has some type of eye deformity. And this apparent shy kid doesn't seem all that happy. Then another wicked kid is heard saying, "If Jason gets in there, he'll scare all of the fish." And after that remark, some of the other kids begin to chant, "Yeah, scary Jason, scary Jason, scary Jason." So then a blonde female counselor is seen replying, "If you all don't shut up, your swimming privileges will be cut out now." We then hear a male counselor respond by saying, "Come on, Jen, those kids are just having some fun." Then the scene motion is shown picking up, and then we arrive at the middle of the lake. We then get a diving view into its near bottom, as electric eels are now shown swirling around, and these particular sea life have an empowering charge. Then the scene is shown lifting up until we arrive at an upper sky viewing, which hangs above its crystal lake. Now we see the motioning move back down on the lake, but from an upward perspective viewing. Then Jason is seen moving off from his peer group because he seems to be a loner of sort. A radio is heard playing some party music as the children are shown playing in the water. Then the scene is shown motioning to an encampment area, which is slightly southwest of the beach. And then those 4 camp counselors are seen having sex in separate portable tents. Then suddenly the motion quickly goes back to the kids, and Jason is shown farther out than the rest of the pack. He appears to be handling that situation well enough, and then an electric eel fish is shown swimming around his left leg, and in an instant Jason is now seen being shocked. He then appears to be disoriented and immediately sinks below the surface water. Now Jason is heard shouting and screaming, and his head is shown popping back up, and then he yells, "Help," to the other kids, which are now seen, but none of them can hear him because of the radio. And those kids do appear blurry now as seen through Jason's eyes. So Jason is shown sinking once more because the electric shock was very physically taxing on his body. We then see Jason drowning as entire waters are shown filling up his lungs. Now a child Jason is seen motionless as a shadowy death phantom is shown swimming to his lifeless body. Then suddenly 10 electric eels reach Jason before the phantom does and begin to collectively shock a deceased Jason Voorhees. This child now appears to be in an electrified state, as the death phantom is seen swimming through it and into the child Voorhees, which merges with Jason's enlightened form. Then suddenly Jason is shown awakening from that horrible childhood experience and now looks on a fallen Michael Myers. Again, it now appears that Michael Myers has died. So Jason gets closer to his body. Michael Myers is then seen laying very still. We then see Jason turn and walk away. Now we see a side view of Michael Myers as he lifts up his head and then looks in Jason's direction. Michael is then seen getting to his feet as Jason is seen on a split screen turning around. Jason is then seen standing there in shock with his masked expression. We then see Michael quickly walk towards Jason and begins to quickly punch and forearm the hockey mask slayer with both fists and arms. Jason is now seen backing up as he receives those blows. Michael then kicks Jason to the ground with a straight kick to the chest. Now Michael is then seen picking up his scalpel knife weapon and he walks towards a floored Jason. We then see Jason get to his feet, but Michael stabs him near his rib cage. Michael then lifts Jason off his feet with the scalpel hand. Jason is then seen struggling as Michael walks him beneath the huge ceiling fan. Now Michael pulls out the long wire back attachment, and he did so with the other hand. We then see Jason drop to his feet, but Michael wraps the wire cord around Jason's neck. Michael then pulls the scalpel out of Jason and throws it up at the ceiling fan. Jason then bear hugs Michael, and both are seen being taken up to the bladed ceiling fan where they are both cut and sliced. So thank you for tuning in for the conclusion battle between Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers out here at Monster Wars.